So what does your business look like at the other end of this COVID-19 pandemic? Unsure? Don't know where to start? Let's take a look. Hi, my name is Mark and I'm from Yumo Finance and we're property and business finance specialists. In today's video, we're going to explore some of the key considerations for when the lockdown is lifted and business starts to return back to, well, kind of normal. And we've enlisted the help of Jason Tomlin, who's a business coach and consultant, and he's going to give us some of his ideas.
Hi Jason, good to talk again. Really appreciate you taking the time out this afternoon to speak with us. Following on from our previous conversations that we've had around survival and some of the key areas that we were looking at there, obviously this isn't a permanent situation. We don't know how long it's going to last, but we do know that this isn't permanent. And businesses obviously need to consider how they're going to exit out of this situation or move back into business as usual, whatever that may look like for a business. What are the sorts of considerations around that you think are wise for businesses?
Okay. I think a few things really for me that spring to mind. One is be honest with yourself, review, your forecast and review your sales budgeting, and whether you may be a seasonal business, you may have missed the season. Don't put something on that sales budget or that forecast that isn't going to be achievable, because I just think you're going to beat yourself up. So I think once you're faced into that, keep a plan simple. So have a plan, but keep it really simple. And involve the key stakeholders within your organization, to deliver that plan. So whether that is product, whether that is stock, whether that is marketing, whether that is revisiting an effective return on investment, whether that is effective HR restructuring, because let's face it, some businesses are really going to struggle potentially to get out of this. So it's really tough decisions are going to have to happen. So I think what I would say is customers and sales are lifeblood of a business. So they have to be right at the top of your plan to keep it simple. Your team are really important. So how you engage with them, how you communicate, how you give really simple, clear messages to them is going to be key. And I think resilience. So use some keywords, use some little buzzwords, inch by inch, resilience. Yeah, have some fun with it. Because I think there's going to be some tough times ahead, and I think you're going to have to sometimes reflect, take a bit of stock, and you're going to have to come back and do it again and do it again. So those are probably little nuggets I would pull out of how you're going to exit out of this. So
yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think the other thing to consider as well is people would have secured themselves during this period some support financially. Whether that be through the CBILS program, which it's a loan at the end of the day, so it's got to be repaid. So any of your forecasts need to accommodate that as well. People may have taken advantage of things such as VAT deferrals. Again, it's a deferral, you didn't have to pay VAT that quarter. It just means you've got to pay it in a different quarter. So as you say, not being overly optimistic on the speed of growth or the speed of returning to normal, and also factoring in what is quite likely to be an additional burden on cash, because you haven't paid your VAT and you've pushed it into another quarter, and you might have a double quarter hitting you, or equally loan repayments start kicking in after 12 months or whenever it is that you've been able to secure on that basis. So yeah, I think planning, being sensible, being honest are key things to having that out. And as you quite rightly said, having some difficult conversations. You may find that in the beginning you don't need that volume of staff to get back up because the demand isn't there on the business.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're all guilty sometimes as business owners to be far too optimistic. Sometimes I know it's a positive trait, but also you've got to be honest with yourself in terms of setting your numbers out correctly.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, well, great. Thanks very much for that. I really do appreciate you talking to us on several occasions on this topic. It's a very hot topic, and I'm sure things will change on a daily basis. And if obviously anybody watching this, anything resonates with them, I'm sure you'd be happy to take the time to speak to them and just go into it in more detail. So thank you very much, and I really do appreciate you spending time with us.
No, you're welcome. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Dave. Take care now. Bye.
Okay, great, thanks for that. Just quickly recapping over some of the key points that were raised there. Review your forecasts and be realistic. It's exceptionally key to be realistic about how quick the industry may bounce back. You may be fortunate in one that as soon as you open the doors, the floodgates will open. In others, it's a little more challenging looking at supply chains, etc. around that. So please just be realistic. Involving some of your key stakeholders in delivering the plan, making sure that your team are fully engaged so that you give yourself the best chance of success. Review your client base, making sure that firstly, are your clients still around? There may well be some casualties through this process. Looking at your suppliers. By the same token, reviewing your suppliers, can they supply the goods that they once did supply? And ultimately, are they also still around themselves, or are there other restrictions stopping you from getting in the goods? So there we have it. There's an overview of what we think are some of the key considerations for exiting the pandemic. I'm sure there's many more. We hope you find it really useful. Thank you very much for watching.